I already created the models and also deployed models to SSAS workspace and basically SSAS server in Azure. Okay, so we already saw that how to import the model and modify it and again redeploy it. All these things we are done. There is one important concept here, if you go to table tabular model explorer, so you can see all the tables here and the data sources and all. Okay, so we have in something in the solution explorer model.vim. If you go to property, I think in earlier video I already shown. There is something called direct query mode. Basically, what will happen on this tabular model, we store everything in the workspace, like the data and all. So if you have a huge data, so there will be some performance issue again in the tabular model. Like if you have 1 terabyte of data, then it's difficult to again handle in the tabular model. Maybe it may become slow. So if you turn on this direct query mode, so you don't store any data in the local copy in the workspace basically. So basically, what will happen? It'll ask when you turn it on, it'll ask the user ID password. Basically, once you do that, only the table names will appear. Okay, so you don't get any data populated. You see here. So some warnings, you can neglect that. So now I turned on, I don't see any data over here. Okay, so you can go to any other tables, simply the table structure will be there. So you can't see the data. Still, if you want to see the data, you can add some partition if possible, or there is option here, table property. You can go and view the data as well. So that is possible here. So in Power Query Editor, you can view the data, you can modify. Basically, it looks similar to the Power BI. Basically, it's getting from the Power BI only, like it is Power BI template only. So you can see the data here. I think it show credentials, currency, asking credentials. Now you will get a sample data here, like some 200 rows. So you can limit this how many rows you want it. So you can see some data I can fetch it. Okay, so this is how you need to work on, like the direct query mode. Basically, it will just connect your sources and get the data. There is a huge impact on the performance. Basically, it doesn't store anything in Vertifact engine, so you don't have to worry about refresh and all. So partition, because this particular direct query mode stores only one partition. If you want to see that, go to partitions, where we can see that somewhere here. Sorry, this is prospectus. There is partition on the table. We have partitions. See, default this direct query engine takes only one partition. If you want to add, you can add a sample data. Okay, so you can write, you can give some sample data, so it is not required. Still, if you want, you can add sample partition also. So I don't want to add anything because I can see data indirectly in the query. So as I showed, so this will basically help in the use data. So you can just deploy as direct query mode. Whenever you fetch something from Power BI, it will connect this directly your source and get the data. So template, only you are storing as template. Okay. I think this is. I mean, you can create a partitions, different partitions in different modes. Basically, if you see, if you enable, if you turn off this, so now I think turned off. So if you want to see the data, you need to go to model and process all the data. So once you process, you can able to see the data here. This is basically storing into artifact engine. So it depends on your RAM, I mean what engine you choose. So so once you store data into artifacts, so you can create a partitions. Take little time. Okay, it is processed successfully. Then you can see the data here. Like suppose if I want to create a partitions on the fact table, you can right click and create a partitions here directly. So you can add new partitions and basically like you can write expressions here. So you can click on query editor. So you can add filters, anything required like only particular date if you need it. You can set that in that partitions. So basically that will process only that data. So you can also specify in the query editor. You can validate here. You can give conditions. You can write tags here. Suppose if you want to do anything, or if you can directly filter it like you can take one column, calculated column at the end or somewhere. You can define that I want only this year data. You can filter that. So this is how we need to do partitions. So I'm not going in detail because it's difficult to cover everything in one thing. Okay. So hope you understand the things like how to process. See, this is the different type of process also. When you're using Vertipact or no direct query mode off, then you need to process manually. So this processing can be done in different ways, like you can connect Azure Logic apps to do that, or Azure Functions, you can process it, or in SSMS also you can do using stored procedures, that's possible, or you manually you can go and do it here. So this is how we need to. You can do individual partitions processing or table processing. Into table processing also, you can do all the processing steps here. Okay, thank you for watching and keep watching my videos.